Welcome to the Health by Haven podcast. I'm your host, Haven Quinlan. If you're a multi-passionate wellness enthusiast, then you're in the right place. I'm obsessed with learning as much as I can about the wellness world, and I want to share that with you. Each episode will dive into various aspects of health and wellness through inspiring and informative guest interviews with some solo episodes thrown in. Tune in for all things health, and let's have some fun, shall we? The nervous system controls everything from hormones and sleep to digestion and stress. That's why Foundation of Stone Pediatric and Perinatal Family Chiropractic in Knoxville, Tennessee helps women and families build long-term health through gentle nervous system focused chiropractic care. Visit tnkidschiro.com to learn more. Rebekah, thank you so much for joining us again here on the Health by Haven podcast. For our listeners, if they haven't been listening every week since week 1, you were first on the podcast for episode 61. We talked all things acupuncture in that episode. So that would be a really great place for people to go back and listen if they haven't already. We've been doing a mini series on the 5 elements of Chinese medicine, and we have covered the metal element, the water element, and the wood element. And today we are going to cover the fire element. So thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you so much, Haven. This is such a great opportunity to kind of give some education around what is the elements and what is acupuncture and how does that relate to each other. Of course, I'm very stoked up because we're talking about the fire, and that is very much in line with the fire element. What I would like to break down today is to talk about the organ systems in which the fire element encompasses, and then how that shows up in your body, whether it's in balance or imbalance. And then we can also talk a little bit about the energetics, like the emotional aspect of the fire in itself. And we know that if you've been listening to the series, that each element plays into another element, because there's never a way to really separate them. But to kind of get a little bit of context around the different elements and kind of how it would see, like, why would you go to an acupuncturist, or what would you see as far as like symptoms and things of that nature, and what would an acupuncturist be looking at? Does that sound good?
Sounds perfect.
All right, cool. So the fire element, let's just look at what fire is. Fire is hot. Fire is moving. Fire can be out of control, and it also can be very controlled, right? Like our fireplace in our house, or if you're looking at a bonfire outside, or a forest fire, really, it gets out of control. And so there is, of course, a balance to all of those things. So let's just kind of start with what the organs are. And we think about fire. If you think about what it is, it's very yang. So the yin and the yang, so the yang is like movement and heat and getting things done and exciting and having a lot of fun. So those are the aspects of the fire element that we can see. We're in June right now, so June is starting to get a little hot. The days are starting to get a little bit longer. We tend to stay up a little bit later because we're having a lot of fun. And these are the times of year, right? So the school ends, we have vacation, we get with our family, we get with our friends. There's just a lot more movement versus if we look back into the winter time when we talked about the bladder and the kidney, that's more, you want to cozy up with a blanket and you want to read a book, or, you want to do something that is more almost alone, more solitude. And then like fire is like complete opposite. We want to go have fun.
Yeah.
And what's so fascinating this year that we're speaking about is a fire yang year. And I do want to touch base on that, but it's the horse is the animal of the zodiac sign. And 2026 is all about the movement, the yang aspect of fire element. And then 2027 we'll get into, and that's more of the heart aspect. So that's the yin of the fire. So first off, we think fire, we look at the heart. And the
Mm.
heart is red, right? And it
Mm-hmm.
pumps blood, heat. Our blood is like one of the biggest fluids of the body. And in Chinese medicine, we refer to the blood as the most yin aspect of our fluids,
Mm.
whereas the bones are the most yin aspect of our structure.
Okay.
The heart energy is, it's about regulating our circulatory system, regulating the movement of the blood throughout the system, talking to the lungs to oxygenate the blood, so they have like this beautiful symbiotic relationship to each other. And the emotional aspect of, we'll just talk about the heart itself. It is about connection. It's
Mm.
about community, and it's about bringing people together. There's so many sayings around, oh, that's feeling very heart centered, or follow your heart when you're talking about relationships. So it has a lot to do with relationships and how we feel in our relationships. We say that more of the yang aspect of the heart energy would be joy, like
Mm.
joy, not like I saw something that made me laugh a little bit, right? But like that deep sense of joy that hits you in the feels, right? And you're like, oh, I just feel so connected.
Yeah.
I was with a group of women that shared their heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
Shared from their heart space. So it's a little more sacred in some ways. I just think of like the heart energy is what brings us together, whereas the winter is more about what brings us in more solitude. So it's more self-like, self-reflection. And this is how you show up in your community. This is how you show love to your neighbors, that kind of stuff. And so that's kind of, it's really cool, and it's kind of the center of our chest. And so when we think of the energetics, it's like, where do you find true joy? What lights you up in your heart space? So that's more the heart yin. So even though it's fire and there's a lot of heat involved, it is more of the yin aspect of the fire phase.
Okay.
The yang is more small intestine.
Mm.
Like, what in the world? How is the heart and the small intestine kind of in the same, right?
Right.
And, and it took me a very long time to really understand this, because the way I learn things, I really have to feel into them, and I have to I hear what's being taught, and then I have to kind of really feel what's being taught. And
Mm-hmm.
so the small intestine, why is it in the fire? Well, when we eat food and we chomp it down, it goes into our bellies. Our belly kind of breaks all that stuff down. Then it goes into the small intestine. The small intestine, the liquid in the small intestine is not fecal matter just yet. It's your food matter.
Mm-hmm.
And then it separates the nutrition of our food into the bloodstream, into our
Mm-hmm.
cells, so that it's accepted like, oh, okay, I can use this nutrition for, building. And then the what's left over is what you call the fecal matter, the matter of your food that needs to be exited out of the body.
Mm-hmm.
When that liquid is inside the small intestine, it is super hot.
Mm.
There's your fire. That's your movement. So it
Mm-hmm.
moves energy from food into nutrition into the bloodstream. So that's why you would think of like, oh, okay, small intestine is very fire-like, and it's got a lot of fire attributes, and that's how you get all the nutrients. So those are the two main organs. Well, the heart is extra special,
Yay.
and yeah, and we kind of know that intuitively when we talk
Mm-hmm.
organs. We get a little like juicy with our heart, right? We're like a little more precious.
Yeah.
We actually have four organs that are associated with the fire phase. It's
Oh,
the
okay.
only one of the five phases. It's the only one that has four channels.
Mm-hmm.
So the third channel is what we call the pericardium. The pericardium, we know that in Western medicine as it's the sac that surrounds the heart.
Okay.
So it's a protector. It's a protector of the heart because every time you breathe in, your organs move ever so slightly, right? Especially if you're running a marathon like you did. Like it's moving, it's moving. And so you don't want friction to
Mm,
happen between the organs. And so you need like a little protective barrier.
okay.
That's the pericardium. So it holds the heart so that it can move. Then you've got the sand jiao. All right, I know everybody knows what the sand jiao is, right? Never heard of that, right? That's like,
Uh-uh.
what kind of
Uh-uh.
organ is that? Well, in Chinese medicine, in the translation of san jiao is san means three, jiao means areas. And so they also call it the triple burner, the triple heater. But that, when I was studying that, it did not really resonate with me to really understand what does that mean. Like I don't, yeah, there's some heat that comes out in the heart. There's some heat around the stomach. There's some heat around the low belly. But what does that actually mean? So the more I've studied about it, I'm seeing the Sanjiao is actually fascia.
Mm.
And if you don't know anything about fascia, fascia is what covers every single cell in our body. It wraps every muscle spindle. It is what makes up our tendons, our ligaments, the IT band, which all the runners in this little, this group that's listening,
Yeah.
you know what the IT band
Oh,
is,
yeah.
and it's something that is always super tight because it's a protector. So I see the pericardium as this protector for the heart itself, and then the Sanjiao is the protector of the whole entire body.
Okay.
The thing about fascia, we could do a whole thing on fascia, obviously, because there's tons of people knowing about, oh, what is this fascia and what does it do and all of that. But the beautiful thing about the Sanjiao is that, we're 70 to 80% water.
Hmm.
So the sage out is 70, let's say the fascia. The fascia is 70 to 80% water. Well, we know that electricity can go through water super fast,
Hmm.
right? It connects. It's just really quick. And of course, we used water to create electricity.
Mm.
So there's an electrical kind of something around that fascia. Well, that is why when we think, oh, I want to move my hand, it's just so instant because it's like a trigger, and the electrical current goes super fast and we're able to move like we want to move and very smoothly. Fascia is, I call it the great communicator. It's the communicator of our outside body to the inside body, if you will.
Yeah. Quick check-in. How's your body feeling today? If you've been carrying old tension, maybe from an old accident, childhood braces, or just life doing its thing, then you're not alone. At Avoda Massage Therapy in Columbia, South Carolina, they offer something called craniosacral fascial therapy, or CFT, and it's amazing. This gentle, hands-on technique helps unwind layers of stress and strain your body's been holding on to, sometimes for years. CFT helps your body move and flow the way it was designed to, improving mobility, calming the nervous system, and supporting your brain's natural function. Many people feel lighter after just one session, while deeper healing unfolds over a few visits. It's never too late to start feeling better, and your body already knows how to heal. Sometimes it just needs a little help. So go check out Avoda Massage Therapy in Columbia or learn more at avodamassagetherapy.com because healing feels so good when your body finally lets go.
An example is like you're walking down the road and somebody just taps you on the back of your shoulder. You didn't see them physically with your eyes, but when you got that tap, your whole body responds, right? Like, oh, who just touched me, right?
Yeah.
And once you see that person and they're cool, everything kind of calms down. But how fast is that
Mm-hmm.
response of like somebody's invading my space here, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot around fascia right now. There's a lot of study around it because if you get into the emotional body, what we're really now believing is that, you've heard the body keeps the score. Really,
Yeah.
it's the fascia that keeps the score.
Yeah.
And when I'm training massage therapists, I'm always saying, you're really not manipulating muscle, you're manipulating fascia.
Yeah.
And so those are the four organs. So those are, you've got the heart itself, you've got the small intestine that helps deliver the nutrients to the blood, you've got the pericardium that just protects the heart itself, and then you've got the jiao that protects the whole entire body.
Okay.
Yeah.
All four of these are part of fire element.
Fire element. And I was thinking about it on the way home to talk about this today. And it's like, our bodies are 97, it's what, 97.8 or 98.6. Well, if it's 98.6 outside, it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so it is a very hot system. So we really do well with heat. But if it's 5 degrees more, then we're in danger of a stroke, right? Or brain damage. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
105 or somewhere around there. And so it's a delicate system to keep that level perfect so that you're not too cold and you're not too hot, the internal environment, if you will.
Okay.
Yeah. And so that comes to what we see in clinic. What would an example of an imbalance?
Mm-hmm.
Say someone has too much fire, too much heat. Well, more than likely they're stressed out.
Yeah.
So stress brings on a certain amount of heat because it's
Mm-hmm.
very yang in nature. Stress is not one that you just go take a nap. Oh, I'm so stressed. I'm just gonna go sleep, right?
Yeah.
Stress is you want to get moving, you want to talk it out, you want to yell at somebody, all of that kind of stuff because it's an outward movement. It's yang in nature. Stress would be, and so
Mm-hmm.
it affects the fire phase, which is of that. So stress, anxiety, inability to go to sleep. That's a big one I see so much. I mean, so many people are dealing with anxiety right now
Yeah.
um, because there's so much uncertainty and there's so much like back and forth and we don't, we just don't know what's happening. And so there's this unease stress and then there's daily stress of living and trying to make
Yeah.
all of that. And then, so when someone comes into clinic and they go, one of my 10 questions, we've got like 10 average questions that we ask. And I'm like, man, how is your sleep? Like, do you have a hard time getting to sleep? And if they say that they have a hard time getting to sleep, I'm immediately like, okay, the fire is out of control.
Mm-hmm.
So we would call heart fire anxiety.
Okay.
Yeah, and so it shows up. I'm not able to get my heart to settle at night. I'm not able to go to sleep. When you go into sleep, you should feel very safe, right? You can't really
Mm-hmm.
sleep when you don't feel safe.
No.
Um, you're out camping in some crazy place. You're probably not going to sleep that great that night because you can hear every little sound and you're like,
Yeah.
and anxiety is kind of an alertness. It's a state of alertness that is not great, right?
Yeah.
Somebody has a lot of high blood pressure issues.
Mm.
That means the heart is working too hard to get the blood to flow through. Well, now you've got excess in that fire phase.
Okay.
Red complexion, just really red, or their eyes are always bloodshot. They have constipation because there's so much heat in their body that it dries up the bowels,
Mm.
and so it makes it hard to have a good bowel movement. So those are some examples of heart being too much. And so what we would do in clinic is we would supplement the water.
Okay.
Yeah. So we go back to the end phase, right? We go back to the winter. Well, that's cold water. And so if we douse a fire with cold water, well, what's going to happen? It's going to
It's gonna go
pop.
out. You're basically a firefighter.
Yeah.
I love it. People need that. Before we get into how you balance it out with water, I do have a question for the sleep. When you're treating sleep, if people are having a hard time falling asleep, is it the same as treating somebody who can fall asleep okay, but then they're waking up a lot and they're not getting restful sleep? Or is that different?
That's such a great question. It can be both, where you're having restless dreams or you're just feeling restless, like you fall asleep, but you just toss and turn and toss,
Yeah.
or you have to go get up and pee a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
That would be something to do with the fire, and it can also do with the wood too, because we talked about that in the spring. As
Mm-hmm.
far as like, I get to sleep super easy, like fall just right to
Yeah.
sleep. But then about 2 or 3 in the morning, I wake up. That when you just kind of wake up and you're not thinking about anything, or yeah, when you're not thinking about anything and you're just awake,
Mm-hmm.
that could be more of a wood issue. So
Okay.
it gets into detail, but I think this restlessness, the tossing, the turning, the waking up, go back to sleep, wake up, go back to sleep. I still think that is a fire
Okay.
issue.
Okay.
Yeah.
So people who are coming in where you're like, ooh, a lot of fire, like imbalance, too much fire element. It's often sleep issues, it's often high blood pressure, it's often people who are dealing with like a lot of stress in their life.
Yeah, it can show up in their skin being exceptionally dry,
Mm,
thirsty all the time because their mouth is dry. Yeah, it's just thinking what it feels overly hot, or,
mm,
overly stimulated, really.
yeah. And I imagine that's a lot of people in the US.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and too, what's so hard is that people are, on average, there's a part of us that is very independent, and we like to have our, our aloneness, our separation. But the heart energy pulls us to want to be with other people. We are social people. Like we need each other. And when we're in a society that's so like, I don't need anybody, I can do this all by myself. Well, there's no way that you can do it by yourself. I mean,
Hmm.
I can't make this house by myself. I can't do a lot of things. We're always codependent on each other, whether we like to say that or realize it or not. We need each other. It's such a big thing that we need more community, more bringing together, and that will lower the anxiety level immediately, because we now have support, we have love, we have joy, we can laugh with each other over dinner. We need more togetherness. I mean, I think just as a good little practice is start having dinner at your table.
Hmm.
You have a partner, you have kids, sit at the table and actually have dinner together, because we've missed that. We're always
Yeah.
go and go, go, go. Oh, yeah, let's stop by McDonald's and pick up dinner, everybody, because we just don't have time.
Yeah.
And it's just, everything's just so rushed, which rushing, that's another heat, right? That's just too much movement when we need to balance it out with some non-movement.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't mean to take us off track.
No,
Like back
no, it's okay.
into the clinic when you're seeing these things, what might you be doing for people treatment
Right.
wise?
Well, one thing I do want to say really
Yeah.
quickly is a little homework that really helps calm the heart fire is the yoga pose, legs up the wall. Have you heard
Hmm. Yes, because the first time I came and saw you, you told me to do it, and I still do
that?
it every single night. I do. I read and I have my legs up the wall for like just 5 or 10 minutes. Sometimes it's more if I
Yeah.
have time and I'm like really into my book, but it really helps.
So what experience do you feel when you do that?
like in my anxiety levels, it definitely like calms me down and like gets me ready for bed. And I think reading while I do it like helps as well. You know, I'm kind of like in a story I'm enjoying versus like reliving my day and like thinking about what I'm going to have to get done the next day. And then in my body, like it definitely, like your legs do get a little bit tingly, or at least mine do, like, because the blood's like draining out. But I do feel like it helps inflammation as well, especially when I'm in a training block where I'm running a lot and I'm on my feet a lot. I feel like it helps them recover better.
I totally agree. Yeah, so for those that have never heard of legs up the wall, you really just sit your butt up against the wall and let your legs lay up the wall. I feel that the reason it works is because the movement of circulation out of the component. And so when your legs are above your heart, it just kind of drains down. And that
Hmm.
a calming effect on the nervous system, and then that calms the heart, and then that helps you go to sleep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm so glad you're still doing that. That is
Every
fantastic.
night. Every night. It's a, you know, it's true. Like when they say, you know, it takes whatever, 21 days or 30 days to build a habit and a routine. And, you know, at first you're like, oh, like I don't have time for this. Like I want to get my 8 hours of sleep, but like just build it in. And then now I literally don't even think about it. I just do it every night.
Oh, I love that. That's so awesome. It's really nice when people do what you ask them to do.
And you're just trying to help people. You're helping me.
Oh, I really am trying. The opposite end is if one doesn't have enough heat. A lot of people that run cold all the time, even in
Hmm.
the summer, and they're wearing sweaters, you kind of wonder what's going on. Their circulation, immediately I hear people say, "Oh, my circulation's bad." Well,
Mm.
that might be a heart deficiency or a fire deficiency. Um, and when I say heart deficiency, I'm not saying there's something wrong with your heart itself. So I want to clarify that. A lot of cold, lethargy, just no energy, no inspiration. They feel very disconnected. They're probably people that really just don't even like to talk to people because they don't have enough fire in their body to want to socialize. Because we keep talking
Hmm.
about that. The heart energy, the fire energy is about socialization, connection, that kind of thing. And so when you see someone that almost has like an affect, they don't have anything going. Unfortunately, I see that a lot of people with like Prozac, antidepressants,
Hmm.
because it calms them so much that it actually creates no effect. Like no, they can't get happy, they can't get sad. It's I don't think it would be a fun place to be.
Mm. You're just a bit like in the middle. You're not feeling the
Yeah,
highs or okay.
yeah, you can't get excited about anything, your partner tells you like, "Oh my goodness, we're gonna do this," and you're like, "Oh, that sounds good."
Yeah.
It's just flat. So a flat effect, I guess you could say. Um, and then they need some heart, they need some connection, they need some fire. I just don't see that as much in my clinic. But I do see it with the antidepressants. You know, it,
Interesting.
and sometimes it's really hard to diagnose because you're like, well, are they just bored with what I'm saying, or are they just really are not feeling anything?
Mm.
And,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, but what I would encourage the person to do, so in treatment, we would definitely treat the fire energy.
Okay.
I would suggest that they would eat more spice, more things to bring heat inside their body.
Mm.
Um, no cold food, no salads, nothing like no protein bars. And that's where I see a lot like runners, right? You guys are so
Hmm.
active and you want to, nourish yourself, but you don't have a tendency to take the time to cook your food, right? 'Cause
Hmm.
you're like, I got to get that run in, I got to get this thing in. And unfortunately, all of that cold is just going to create more of a cold environment if that's your problem. More than likely, you will have a lot of bloating when you eat because you don't have enough heat in your stomach to process.
Mm.
You definitely cold hands, cold feet. But I think there's so much more to that particular symptom, because I've actually had a hard time treating that in clinic because I have
Yeah.
cold hands and cold feet. Like I haven't figured it out, and I have a bit of fire in me. So, so I know that. So I'm like, I'm still trying to figure that part out. But overall, if you have someone with a lot of cold symptoms,
hmm
um, the, we would probably treat with a lot of moxa. I don't know if we talked about moxa in any of the
Oh, I
series.
now I'm not sure if we've talked about it on the podcast or just when I've been to see you in clinic. So let's just go over it again for people just in case.
Sure. So moxa is so it's called moxibustion, which means it translates burning of the herb. That's all that means. The herb that we burn is called mugwort. Mugwort is it's in the mint family. It's super easy to actually grow. But for whatever reason, the Chinese figured out mugwort in particular, when it's burnt, it kind of is the same vibration of our own body. And meaning that when we burn above a point, now we don't burn you. But what you do, I mean, it looks like a big old fat cigar, and you light it just like you would a cigar, except there's no breathing in. But you light it up, and you'll hover over a point. And so what you're doing is you're adding. So the body is saying, "Oh, I'm so cold. Can I take that heat?" And I'll do this over a certain point till it gets hot.
Mm,
And some people, it takes forever. I'm like, man, it's 3 minutes. I'm still
yeah.
standing here and they're not feeling heat. That's how depleted they are. That's how much cold is in their body. And so we use moxa to heat the channels, to add energy to the channels. And that
Okay.
is probably way more effective than even just acupuncture because you're now adding a component to it that's going to heat them up.
Okay, so when you're heating a spot, is it a spot that also has a needle in it or no?
Sometimes it can be. Most of the time when I'm doing moxa, I don't really do it over a needle. There are techniques where you put a needle in and then you burn the moxa over the needle. It's not a bad idea because it heats up the needle actually, so then it gets
hmm
even more heat. I've never had anybody report like, "Oh, that feels like you're burning me." Like
Yeah.
it heated up that much because you're
hmm
just the resonance of smoke
Okay.
because you're not actually touching the needle with the hot amber.
Yeah.
Um, so I usually will just put needles in where I want to, and then I'll mox it over where I want to.
Okay.
Yeah. And so a lot of times I'll do that over the back channel. It's weird because I actually use the kidney points a whole lot. There's the kidney energy has a certain fire to it as well, even though it's cold and yin. And it kind of gets into the system like a little bit more deeper into the DNA aspect of the body. So it might say, "Hey, remember you're supposed to be hot. You're fire. So this is what you're supposed to do."
So when someone's coming in, whether it's fire excess or depletion, maybe they're experiencing some of those things that we've already discussed, stress or high blood pressure or something of the sorts. What are some of the points that you might do acupuncture on, like physically on their body?
The challenge in answering that question, it always depends on what other things that are happening, right?
hmm
But say I have someone that's just straight up heart deficiency, like fire
hmm
deficiency, and they're cold and all of these cold things. So what I would do is I would actually supplement the heart. And so
Mm.
I would use probably a couple of heart points. So the heart meridian, it ends here. So it actually is up underneath the armpit. So it's almost like access to the armpit itself underneath the pec muscles.
hmm
If you feel your armpit, it's pretty hot, right? So
hmm
there's already heat coming out of there. And there's also a lot of blood vessels and things of that nature.
mm
But with the heart channel, it goes down the inside of the arm all the way down to the pinky.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would probably use some good heart points. I might even look at the pericardium because what's it protecting? And so
Mm-hmm.
maybe even incorporate the, because if the reason that they're so cold and feeling a little bit like withdrawn, they need more connection. So pericardium is kind of a nice connector. More than likely, I would use probably a liver point too, because that is so involved with the blood itself. And so to give a little more heat to that liver energy, as we talked about the wood energy in the spring, well, that's the liver and the gallbladder. Well, in the way we look at it, it's a circle. So the wood actually mothers the fire.
Okay.
Because what do we make a fire out of? We're burning wood. And so
Mm-hmm.
there's a relationship between those two to kind of help each other out. So the heart would be the daughter or the son of the wood. So I would pull in some of those aspects to it.
Okay, that makes sense. And then as far as like the fascia part of this element,
Huh?
what is that where like gua sha or cupping would come into play?
Oh, such a great question. As you probably experienced, and I can't remember because it's been a little bit of time, but when I was treating you, maybe the first or second time, I did some gua sha on your back.
Mm-hmm.
And here is such a cool little thing. So the bladder channel that is at the cold of the winter water, it starts at like the inner canthus of the eye, like right at your tear duct, I mean, and then it comes over the head and then it goes all the way down the spine,
Mm.
circulates through the sacrum and then all the way down to the toe.
Okay.
And so what I would do if someone is more in excess heat,
Mm-hmm.
like anxiety, not able to get to sleep, things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature. I use gua sha, which is gua means spoon. Sha is the stuff that shows up. It's the red stuff. It's the bumpy kind of like that dark color, all of that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would use the gua sha tool or the spoon to go down the bladder channel. So again, I'm using water to cool the fire.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using gua sha to allow the heat to exit the body
Mm-hmm.
through the bladder channel.
Okay.
Yeah. And usually, and I'm sure you experience like do a little gua sha, you slept fine,
Yeah.
right? It just cools everything down.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's like a release valve,
Yeah.
if you will. Now, cupping, I see now other practitioners may argue with me, and that is fine because everybody's experience is different. But for me, when I think of cupping, it's more your deficient person, right? It's the person that's running cold. Well, now I want to use a suction cup, which is usually a glass cup, or I use a lot of times a plastic and it has a little pump. But you take, so same channel, I would still use the bladder channel because it's a great access to the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're not going to do a bunch of cupping over your heart,
Yeah.
like, yeah, you can't do that. So using the back channel, and I would cup along that channel to pull blood to the surface to then be circulated. So
Okay.
yeah, so it could use like energies from other systems to be able to like, oh, she's pulling this blood up to the surface so I can move, and then that will create heat.
Okay.
Like a cold winter day when you're out going to go running, you start out pretty darn cold, but then once you start moving, well, now you're starting to feel heat, you're starting to sweat, even though it's 20 degrees outside.
Yeah.
So same concept of the cupping is moving that blood to create some heat.
Okay. Interesting. I never thought of it that way because I was thinking of it kind of like the gua sha where it's pulling it out, but that makes sense, like circulate it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So those are great tools to kind of move blood and also to clear heat. And that's usually what I use it for primarily.
Okay. So quick recap for
Mm-hmm.
everyone. Fire element, the only one that has four channels. The heart, the small intestine, the pericardium, and sand jiao.
Yeah.
And your heart, it's about connection. It's regulating your circulatory system, your oxygen, all of that good stuff. Am I hitting the high points? I want to
Yeah.
make sure we wrap it up nicely for everyone.
Yeah, that's it. That's great.
Amazing. Okay. Anything else we've missed? I think that's it.
I think that wraps it up. And, of course, if you have any questions, I'm always happy to answer questions. BalanceUClinic.com. We have a lot of education on our website. I've spent a lot of energy and time and money to really create our website to be an informational center. So that's a great place to start. And then if you have further questions, I'm happy to answer anytime.
Amazing. Well, Rebekah, thanks so much for joining us again for the fourth element of our mini series. And everyone stay tuned for August when we will cover the earth element, which will be the last of the five elements.
Thank you so much, Hayden.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Health by Haven podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to give the show a 5-star rating and leave a review. It makes such a huge difference in reaching new people and spreading the joy of healthy living. I would also be so appreciative if you subscribe to the show in the listening app of your choice so you never miss an episode. Your support truly means the world to me. Have a happy, healthy day, and I'll talk to you again soon.